Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our playthrough of 428 Shibuya Scramble. I'm here with Yoshi,
So, folks,
and this is part 11?
11? Yeah.
It's been a while. Been a little busy.
It's been a while since I could see that song. Say that I played the Scramble. It's been a while. You know that song. It's been a
Uh,
while.
is it is it the Beatles?
It's not the Beatles. Close. Close, though. But Stained.
State.
Stained. There's no E in
Oh, I
Stained,
see.
in case you're wondering. Some say that they're the Beatles of their generation, actually.
What
Beatles of the early 2000s.
what is the Beatles of this? Actually, I think I know who the Beatles are of this generation. It's BTS, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, even the name BTS is like an outline of the word Beatles.
That's true. It's Beatles without the vowels.
Yeah, L's.
Yeah. Alright, so what happened last time? Do you remember anything?
I remember there were more shenanigans with Hitomi and Achi and Gunman.
And we
Gunman had
did.
a friend, but actually it wasn't his friend.
Oh, yeah.
And then they were beating each other up, and then they started going after Achi again.
And they're at a keep out.
I know that we did the Tama and the chicken girl. Oh, and that loser guy gave us his like last 10,000 yen or whatever from his shoe. He was like, "I swear this is all. This is my last." And he would, "I'll be okay. I will stand on my feet."
Um, we also had the option to take off the suit, but you decided to keep it on.
You had the option to take up the street?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's what to do with the cat suit.
We
I
kept
think
it
I
on.
remember that. Because I was surprised. Internally surprised.
That we kept it on?
Yeah. Alright, so Minorikawa is open. He was at I think he's gonna be at a keep out, but we can just break it with Tama. Achi's at a keep out, which we can also break open with Tama. And then there's also Kano.
Let's catch up with Kano. We haven't heard from him in a few weeks, I feel like. A
Alright.
couple weeks. I don't know. It's been a minute.
Yeah, I'll pull up the summary for this guy.
Yeah, he's with this freaking weird dude. It's American.
Summary. The attaché relay continues, thinking back on things he's learned from senior detective Kyozo Tateno. Kano decides to arrest the culprit with the help of his partner Yuji Sasayama, only to be interrupted by Jack Stanley, a security assistance officer from the U.S. Embassy. Much to Kano's confusion, his superior Kuze tells him to follow the American's orders. Together, they head to the syndicate's hideout, discovering en route that Detective Tateno, who had been charged with keeping Hitomi Osawa safe, has gone missing. Alright.
No.
Following Kano's directions, Stanley drove toward the crime syndicate's hideout. Hangout. There was a good chance that this was where Maria was being held. Traffic was practically non-existent, and they made good time. They cruised down Miyamasuzaka, then passed the train station toward Dogonzaka. All the while, the two men stared out the windshield, neither inclined to make conversation. Did I write down who was voicing Stanley?
Jack Stanley.
Okay, it's me.
Who is it? It's okay.
Yeah. They arrived at Shinsencho intersection.
Take a right here.
Kano said. What voice did I give him? You nervous? Stanley asked as he made the turn. His own tone was calm and level. Kano gave no reply. If this syndicate really was holding Maria hostage up ahead, he and Stanley might wind up putting her in danger by showing up there. If it came down to it, Kano wondered, could he count on the man next to him taking the hostage's safety into account? He doubted it, but there was nothing he could do about that now. They arrived at the syndicate's hangout sooner than Kano had anticipated. It was a multi-tenant building in Tomigaya, southwest of Yoyogi Park. The ratty building looked like it might come crashing down at any minute. The Black Lodge sign out front looked deliberately ominous. Kano knew the place as a bar frequented by expats from various countries, as well as a hotbed of criminal activity. I'll take point, Stanley said. You back me up. He pulled a handgun from his suit pocket. It was a compact Glock, a model frequently used by the FBI or CIA. A Glock is a gun developed in Austria. It uses a lot of plastic. A certain Hollywood film included a line of dialogue claiming that the Glock would not show up on airport X-ray machines. But since the gun barrel itself is made of metal, this is assuredly not true. Do you know what Hollywood film that is?
No. Do you?
No, I don't.
Probably some old movie.
Could it be... Trying to think of a movie where they go on a plane. I can't think of one.
Airplane?
Airplane.
Snakes on a plane?
Snakes on a plane, that's probably it.
The Terminal? That's a joke, because
Right.
like they don't go on the plane.
Red Eye takes place on a plane, right? That's a movie on a plane.
I guess. I don't know anything about Red Eye.
FBI is the Federal Bureau of Investigation. You know that. Oh.
Did you know that they killed Martin Luther King?
Is that for sure? Did they come out and say that?
No, but everyone knows it's true.
Makes sense.
Just a little not so fun fact. Little Easter egg for the folks back home.
Well, how about the CIA? What have they done?
Probably also involved
Probably also a lot
in the
of stuff.
assassination of Martin Luther King.
Well, from what it seems like, the FBI is more about the internal affairs, and the CIA seems like it's going overseas.
Primarily
So it's
overseas.
maybe they're focused more on, I don't know, instigating civil wars in third world countries.
Yeah, one of my favorite pastimes.
Kano drew his own gun, and the two cautiously made their way inside. They immediately heard some sort of ruckus from beyond a wooden door at the far end of the hall.
Please don't let this be what I think it is.
Kano thought to himself. What do you think it is? What do you think Kano is thinking? As the
People getting down to business. Doing the deed.
Sweat beaded.
Knocking boots, as it were.
Sweat beaded on his hands as he gripped his gun tighter. He heard the sound of glass shattering. Then came the sound of something heavy falling to the floor.
Maria!
It's me.
It's me, Maria!
Ignoring Stanley's previous order, Kano rushed ahead, kicked down the door, and stepped inside. He walked right into a massacre. There were nearly a dozen bodies sprawled out across the floor. He thought he recognized them all, the men who'd participated in the repeated attaché case handoffs. Each appeared to have been stabbed to death. Had these guys all turned on each other? No, that couldn't have been the case. None of the victims was holding a knife, which meant that whoever had killed them must still be hiding nearby. No sooner had Kano come to this conclusion than he heard a muffled cry behind him.
Stanley!
The American was sprawled on the floor, face down. Kano rushed over and knelt beside him. Stanley was dead, stabbed through the back. Without an instant's hesitation, Kano stood up again, gun at the ready. He scanned his surroundings, but there was no sign of the killer. But that was impossible. Stanley had been killed mere moments ago. Someone had to be here somewhere. Out of nowhere, he felt someone press the tip of the knife into his neck from behind, right at the base of his skull. How? He hadn't noticed anyone coming up on him. There wasn't even anyone else around. Nobody but the corpses scattered across the floor. Wait, the corpses? Kano hadn't checked them. Hadn't checked to make sure they were all really dead. With his last thought, he realized that had been his fatal mistake. Well, that was fast.
Yeah, that was not good.
Alas, there's nothing to be done for poor Kano now. He wasn't prepared for whoever was wielding that knife. Sometimes it's best not to rush things. Kano and Stanley might not have had their run-in with the killer if they'd turned up a bit later. There's someone who can cause a traffic jam at 1310, which should keep these two from meeting such a grisly end. Wow, that rhymed. I'm a poet, and I didn't even think I was aware of such a thing.
It rhymed?
No, it didn't.
What,
really
10 with end?
Yeah. Alright.
I guess kind
of. So we need to find someone who can cause a traffic jam for Kano.
Okay.
We have Minorikawa that we can go to, Achi we can go to, and Osawa, which we haven't touched yet.
Let's check in with Osawa. Not that I think he's going to be the one causing the traffic jam.
Alright, but yeah, we gotta see where everyone
touch him.
is. Yeah.
I don't deserve to be wait, is this what he sounds like? He's gruff, right?
Yeah.
I don't deserve to be forgiven for what I've done. He sounds like Batman.
Kind of. Which Batman are you going for?
The good one. We may have both done the same thing, but my motives, those were different. And so I don't regret what I did. And yet, if someone were to ask if there was some small part of me that wanted to see the results of my research, I could not deny it.
So it sounds like Kevin Conroy is what you're going for.
I don't know who that is. Is that a Batman?
One of the Batman. Animated series
Oh,
Batman.
okay.
Osawa grabbed his shoes from the entryway and then headed for the back door. He didn't want the detectives in his living room to know he was going to meet with Makino. That pest Kajiwara was nowhere in sight. Now was his chance to slip away.
Gotcha. Oh, that's Kajiwara probably, right?
Yeah, I'm Kajiwara, right? Yeah, I'm Kajiwara.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
This guy's the best. Speak of the devil.
Kajiwara had snuck up behind him. So that's what that feels like.
Are you going out?
The detective asked.
No. I was just...
Osawa felt something inside his shoe. Glancing down, he saw a rubber duck stuffed inside it.
Is this your doing?
I laid a booby trap.
Or rather, a ducky trap. A booby trap. Originally, a type of lethal trap used during wartime to catch clumsy or unwary soldiers who are called boobies. In modern parlance, however, the term frequently signifies a harmless prank, such as setting a blackboard eraser atop a classroom door so that it falls onto the head of whoever opens the door. Kajiwara beamed with self-satisfaction.
You know, you act like a grade schooler.
Osawa said.
Indeed, sir. I am a grown man with a youthful heart.
Leave it to Kajiwara to yet again miss the point entirely. With a sigh, Osawa tossed the duck at him. Kajiwara caught it nimbly in one hand, then stuffed it right into his pocket.
Damn, he's so cool.
I won't tell you that you aren't allowed to leave, sir. All I ask is that you tell me where you've been, and where you plan on going.
My work is highly confidential. I'm not at liberty to discuss it, just anything about...
Please try to work with me on this, sir.
Kajiwara interrupted. He leaned in uncomfortably close.
Do you recall what I said before? About how I'd appreciate if you didn't keep secrets from me?
Osawa hesitated, inwardly debating how much he should share. Oh, we have a choice.
We're just going out for some cigs.
Alright.
I'm just going to buy some cigarettes.
He lied.
It's how I keep my voice so gruff.
Kajiwara flashed an awkward smile.
Now that's odd. I didn't think you smoked, Mr. Osawa.
I'm getting them for a eye.
I've never seen your wife smoke either, sir. And besides...
Kajiwara leaned in closer to him.
Your wife isn't even home right now, is she?
This wasn't going as Osawa had hoped. Evidently, he wasn't a very good liar. Even so, he decided to double down.
Alright, fine. It was actually Mr. Tanaka who asked me to get them.
Oh-ho. Now that's surprising. Is that the sort of thing he'd ask of you, Mr. Osawa?
Kajiwara was genuinely gifted at getting on one's nerves. Osawa barely contained an urge to punch the detective right in the face.
Well, no matter, I suppose.
Kajiwara went on at last.
Just try not to wander too far. Oh, and also...
He produced something that looked like a small transceiver from inside his coat.
Please take this with you.
What the heck is it?
It's a bug tracker, sir. It'll beep in response to a nearby listening device.
I don't need this.
He pushed Kajiwara's hand aside, and the bug tracker fell to the floor.
Mr. Osawa, you mustn't underestimate the lengths to which these kidnappers might go.
For once, the detective's face was all seriousness.
All right, fine.
Osawa snatched up the device and headed out the door. Makino's car was parked out front. A driver stood alongside it. Osawa exchanged a wordless greeting with him, then got into the back. He found Makino reclining in one of the luxurious leather seats. Do I have Makino written down? I don't think so. You can decide who's Makino, who's the boss.
I'll do the boss.
Alright.
What would a boss sound like? Probably
He's holding a cigar, so you think he sounds like the Godfather? Did he have a cigar?
probably, yeah. So the Godfather's like, hey, I'm the Godfather. I made him a offer he couldn't refuse. She's like, now then,
Makino said.
what did you want to ask me about?
Lighting a cigar, he glanced sidelong at Osawa.
I was hoping you could explain the situation to me, sir. Which situation would that be?
So, he was still going to beat around the bush, even now. Osawa suppressed an urge to shout at him.
Are you the one who let the antiviral out of the lab, sir? Yes, that was me.
Makino didn't bat an eyelid. So why had he been so coy a few moments earlier?
But how? The fingerprint authentication system is almost unbreakable. Getting access to the storage area would...
He trailed off as a thought suddenly occurred to him. It was not strictly true that fingerprint authentication was the only means of entry. Osawa and Tanaka had both set up passwords as a failsafe in case an injured fingertip somehow prevented them from operating the scanner properly. But these passwords were 10-character alphanumeric strings. No one could just haphazardly fumble their way in.
So why are they using biometrics to begin with if they're just fine with having a password?
I don't know. It's very convoluted. Complicated. I don't know. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Could Makino have sent a request to the electronic locks manufacturer and asked them to unlock it then? No, that required the approval of 6 board members. And Osawa was one of those 6 people. There really seemed to be no way of getting in without leaving any trace.
You're absolutely right, of course.
Makino said with a grin, as if reading his thought.
I couldn't gain access to the lab without you and Tanaka, but I didn't have to.
He exhaled a large plume of smoke.
You remember when we released the samples for animal testing? No, it couldn't be.
Osawa broke out in a sweat.
Ah, but it could.
Makino said.
I had them divert some of the samples intended for animal testing. Naturally, that didn't leave any record of anything being taken from the lab.
Osawa bit his lip hard. He couldn't help but feel betrayed by his company.
But why?
Makino let out a nasal, one-note chuckle.
You don't seem to grasp just how valuable this thing really is. What do you mean by that, sir?
Makino lowered his voice.
There's a major world power out there that has already weaponized the Uwu virus.
Ooh. For a moment, Osawa thought this was just a sick joke, but the look on Makino's face told him otherwise.
I've been informed that it was recently used on a military installation in the Middle East. Within 12 hours of dispersal, there were at least 800 casualties. If you include civilians, the number jumps to over 2,000. Any evidence of the disease agent in the bomb that delivered it has of course been covered up.
Osawa listened in amazement, his outrage that any government would commit such an atrocity, not quite suppressing his excitement at discovering that the virus could be propagated by explosive means. He felt a flush of guilt at his own fascination.
The antiviral you created, Osawa, has the potential to render this weapon useless. Right now, Okoshi Pharmaceutical possesses the sole means to combat Uwu.
Makino's lips curled into a boastful grin.
Any number of countries would love to get their hands on it. The major power in question has offered an unprecedented sum, and that's hardly a surprise. Having a monopoly on the antiviral makes the weapon itself that much more valuable.
To Osawa, this was a glimpse into another terrifying world, one he had barely imagined previously.
And so you wanted to get human testing over with as soon as possible. Is that it?
He spat. Makino shrugged.
I explained full well to the locals what the risks of experimentation were, and they were paid in accordance with said risks. They willingly consented to infection with the Uwu virus. Sophistry.
Osawa huffed.
Nothing more. You used money to deceive a bunch of poor farmers. Come on, Osawa. Who's being disingenuous now?
Makino eyed him with contempt and let out another puff of smoke.
I know you, Osawa. I know that you're not really concerned for so much of hick farmers. All you care about is your research. The thing that's really nagging you now is that someone went ahead and did the final clinicals without you. Oh, spare me the ridicule, sir. As a virologist, I have a moral duty to... To what?
Makino barked.
Go to the media with this? Do you have any idea how much money the company has thrown at your lab to keep it up and running?
Well, let's see. Osawa's lab has incurred expenses of roughly 30 billion yen in developing the antiviral medication. Koshi Pharmaceuticals spends approximately 200 billion yen per year on research and development. Osawa's work is the single most costly element of that budget.
Damn, that's a lot.
Well, now we know. Osawa gaped.
I do appreciate all the company has done for me, sir.
He spoke so quietly that his voice was nearly inaudible.
In any event,
Makino said,
now that you know about the human testing, I can't let you go to America. How do you know about that?
He'd insisted that I keep his planned relocation a secret, but apparently she told her father regardless.
If you insist on making the move anyway, I'll use any means necessary to stop you.
Makino regarded Osawa with a bloodshot gaze.
Any means necessary?
Osawa swallowed the lump in his throat.
Sir, you don't mean that my daughter's kidnapping was... Don't be ridiculous.
Makino said before Osawa could finish.
Of course that wasn't me. Nevertheless, I'll do what I must to keep you in line. Remember that. Understood, sir. I'll turn down the U.S. job offer.
Osawa heard his own voice like the thin drone of a tiny insect. He felt utterly powerless.
I can't simply take your word on that.
Makino said.
Do it now. I want to hear you do it myself.
He jutted his jaw toward the phone in the backseat console. Alright, we got a choice here.
Let's try and weasel out of this.
Okay.
Couldn't this wait just a little bit, sir?
Osawa asked. Maybe he could still find a way out.
You already know what my decision is.
Makino said. His tone carried an edge of intimidation. Osawa didn't reply. He simply stared at the phone. Telephone. He felt like an insect who'd had all its legs plucked off.
You need to think about your wife, too.
Makino's words were barely above a murmur. Realizing that his boss was speaking as Ai's father, Osawa couldn't bring himself to resist further. He reached out for the phone. It would be around 10 p.m. local time for the American firm. He decided to call his contact's personal phone. The headhunter was shocked to hear that Osawa wanted to decline the position. When he pressed for the reasons behind the decision, Osawa hung up. Visibly relieved, Makino lit up a fresh cigar.
Sir, there's one thing I don't understand. And what's that?
Osawa's head was feeling fuzzy. The smoke inside the vehicle had gotten extremely thick.
If someone has this top secret information, why wouldn't they threaten the company as a whole? Why send those emails to me personally? I'm not sure. There's an internal investigation already underway. We'll find the source of the leak soon enough.
At this point, though, Osawa wasn't sure knowing who originally leaked the info mattered much at all to him.
You beg my pardon then, sir.
Osawa said. He put his hand on the door handle. A sudden, high-pitched chirp sounded from his pocket. The bug tracker Kajiwara had given him had picked up a signal.
Is that your cell?
Makino asked.
Oh yes. That's mine.
He hurriedly hopped out of the car and reached into his pocket.
This is the driver.
I guess that's the driver, yeah.
Alright, you want to do the driver?
Okay. Let me write Godfather next to Makino really quick, because I didn't. Driver. Is everything alright, sir? The driver was still waiting outside the car. He leaned toward Osawa, looking concerned.
Was it you?
Osawa stepped close to the driver.
Did
Did you send me those emails?
What? What are you talking about, sir?
Don't play dumb with me.
Osawa said.
You're the only person who could have planted a listening device on a company car.
Listening device? The driver raised an eyebrow in confusion.
What are you after?
Sir, what are you talking about?
Who told you to do it? Tell me.
The driver fled back into the car. Well, bye. See you. Osawa clutched the bug tracker hard as he watched the vehicle pull away. Oh. He went back to his house, still gripped by confusion, to find Ai waiting in the entryway. She must have gotten home while he was out.
Is this me?
Yeah, I have Bratty written next to her name.
Okay. Like, that describes a lot of my character voices, but, you're with my father, weren't you? Oh, but that someone else sounds exactly like that, though. I guess it's fine.
Really? That's
It's okay.
It's okay. There's gonna be a lot of overlap. She sneered at Osawa as he slipped off his shoes.
Yes, I was.
He replied.
And it's over. What's over? She knows damn well what.
He struggled to contain his irritation.
America, I'm not going.
He huffed.
Oh, really? Well, that is good news.
She sounded sincerely pleased. Maybe a little more pleased than Osawa cared for.
I need to go finish up some work things.
He mumbled. He hurried to his study up on the second floor. He threw himself down in front of his computer. There hadn't been any progress on the investigation, as usual. Just how long was this all going to go on for? Were all kidnapping cases this drawn out?
They got special folks. They negotiate, they do motorcycle and automobile driving, they run phone traces, do special comms, and phone records acquisition.
I guess that's a little recap of what's going on in his house. Osawa was growing more and more uneasy. He could barely contain himself at this point. Wasn't there something, anything, that he could do? He glanced over at his monitor.
That's an idea.
He could look up kidnapping investigations on the internet. That might give him some insight into the current situation. Kidnapping, police investigations, hostages. He typed the 3 keywords into the search field. The engine pulled up over 100,000 hits. He scanned the beginning of the list for anything that might be useful. One of the site links caught his eye. How'd the police do it? It looked like a page containing information on various types of police cases. He clicked on the link for kidnapping cases and began to read. Even if the hostage wound up safe in the end, the site informed him the police lost face if the culprit got away. And if the hostage were killed and the kidnapper evaded capture, the media would have a field day. This made apprehending the suspect an absolute necessity. Even if a person's life was on the line, when it came to a kidnapping case, the police prioritized making the arrest. Taking his hand off the mouse, Osawa sat back and thought. He wasn't going to be able to relax until he heard Maria's voice again. But if the police prioritized arresting the suspect, why were they just letting things stay in limbo now? Didn't they have the crooks under surveillance? He couldn't wrap his head around that. The internet hadn't been able to give him the info he'd hoped for after all. Unable to do anything for Maria but wait, he turned his thoughts to how his opportunity to transfer to the US had passed him by. The research facilities in America would have been top tier. Some part of him still couldn't quite accept what had happened. Blah. He stole a quick look back at the door, then surfed to the Ayakimiki fan community for people 40 and over. Whenever something was weighing on his mind, posting to these forums seemed to turn his mood back around. He knew that now wasn't really the time to be doing this, but he needed to do something to calm and quiet his mind. He started a new forum topic. In the title field, he wrote, Ayakimiki expanding into the US. Do you want to read? It sounds like this is his writing.
With Aya Kamiki still at the height of her popularity, does anyone else think it would be exciting if she ventured into the American market? I know I would. She's not the sort of artist who deserves to be confined in Japan. She should be recording in an American studio, staffed by the industry's best. I'd love to see her career really take off over there.
He wound up getting into a little back and forth with himself. Hopefully he'd get a response from someone else soon. A sudden shrill noise startled him so much that he nearly cried out. His heart fluttered like that of a young child who'd been caught in some prank. Realizing that the sound was coming from the bug tracker, he pulled it from his pocket and took a few breaths to steady himself. Evidently, someone had bugged his study as well. Tracker in hand, he walked toward the center of the room. What direction was the signal coming from? He tried heading over toward the window.
Here, maybe?
Next, he headed over to his desk.
Here, too?
The bug tracker
It's
was
probably
picking up
on his
signals
body, Osawa. It's not
from all
on
over the
him.
room. Had there been that many listening devices planted in here? This is probably Kajiwara, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Osawa, it's Kajiwara.
Yeah, it is.
Ah, perfect timing.
Osawa hurried to let the detective into the study.
The bug tracker's picking up signals.
Oh?
Yes, from all over the room. What should I do?
Mr. Osawa, please calm down.
As if that's even possible right now. It feels like there must be 10, no, maybe 100 listening devices in here.
Kajiwara didn't miss a beat.
Let me be honest with you. That bug tracker is broken.
What?
Osawa was dumbfounded.
Broken? But this is the one I got from you, right?
Well, yes, but mine isn't detecting anything.
Kajiwara produced an identical bug tracker from his pocket. And, as he'd said, it wasn't getting any signal.
As I recall, Mr. Osawa, that one was dropped on the floor when I was trying to hand it to you.
Yes, that's right.
That must have been when it broke, sir.
The strength ebbed from Osawa's body. He didn't even have the mental energy to be angry anymore. He gave the tracker a whack with the palm of his hand, and the beeping stopped.
Right.
he said.
What can I do for you?
Kajiwara clapped his hands together as if he just remembered something.
Ah, right. We have a big problem.
Boil it again.
Osawa sighed.
No, it's not that. It's something worse.
Kajiwara's face turned grim. Something worse? Alright, let's make an assumption.
We don't need to listen to this clown.
There was no way it could be that important. Osawa didn't need to listen to this clown.
Sorry, but I think we're done here. Even though I just asked you why you came in. Now would you please leave without telling me?
Kajiwara's steely expression hardened even further.
But Mr. Osawa, your life is on the line here.
What?
Just then, a pathetic gurgle arose from Osawa's stomach.
Ah, see?
Kajiwara said.
You are hungry.
At the talk of food, Osawa realized abruptly that he hadn't eaten anything since the night before.
Shall I make something for you?
The detective asked.
This is all my fault, after all.
Osawa raised a curious eyebrow.
Your fault?
Well, you see, we ordered lunches for everyone, and it looked like there were 2 still left over, so I wound up eating them.
There was an awkward pause. Osawa didn't have the foggiest idea of how to respond.
My deepest apologies, sir. I ate the lunches intended for you and your wife.
Kajiwara bowed profusely.
And I really do need to apologize. They were tonkatsu bento boxes, and they were delicious.
Is there a picture? No, there isn't. It's a popular menu item from the Your Lunch in a Box bento chain. Wow, this is a lot of backstory. Company president Chiyozo Osugi spent many years working at a famous French restaurant in Kyoto. Valuing flavor over sheer volume, he insists that each side dish in the bento box be prepared with considerable care and effort. Chiyozo is in distress after falling out with his daughter, but he simply can't forgive her eating habits, which favor volume over flavor. Do you think his daughter is the chicken?
Yes. Although I think she also likes flavor. She likes volume and flavor.
Yeah. But if I had to describe her as one or the other, I think volume is what she would prefer.
Yeah, she's a volume gal. Volume queen, as it were.
The meat was so tender, and the batter so crisp. With each and every bite, the rich flavor just filled my mouth more and more.
La la.
Osawa felt the blood vessel burst in his skull.
So then this is what you meant when you said my life was on the line.
Yes, sir. Hunger is the enemy of the mind. It interferes with your ability to make proper decisions, so you really ought to get something in your stomach.
Osawa was too flabbergasted to reply.
Right then, Mr. Osawa. Please follow me to the kitchen.
What's with that getup?
Wearing an apron in the kitchen is a must, sir.
The cartoon character printed on the apron Kajiwara is wearing is one of his own design. It is modeled after the MPD's mascot. His name is Pinpo-kun.
Alas, it isn't while I'm naked.
Naked?
Oh, are you not familiar with the concept of the naked apron?
The state of being entirely naked save for an apron, a form of cosplay. The views from the front, rear, and sides all offer a certain appeal, but caution must be advised, as it may be difficult to stop arguing about which presents the loveliest sight once the topic is raised. There are similar, more sexualized naked styles as well, such as the naked sock, the naked shoe, the naked necktie, naked ribbon, naked scarf, naked collar, and so forth. Is naked belt a thing? Probably.
Yeah. Why not?
What would the belt be holding up?
I could demonstrate if you like.
No, that's quite all right. Where'd you get that apron anyway?
It's mine, sir.
Have you had it with you this whole time?
Yes, in here.
With a smile, Kajiwara pointed to his pocket.
Of course.
Osawa eased himself into a chair. His hunger was making him feel weak, and Kajiwara was making him feel like he was losing his mind.
Oh, this is bad,
The detective said.
I need to whip something up for you fast. Something's definitely wrong if you don't even have a comeback.
Osawa felt his anxiety mounting. Just what sort of food was this insufferable oaf gonna make anyway? Probably nothing worth eating was his bet. Alright. What would you like to do?
Let's pray we wind up with something edible.
Okay. For now, he just have to pray he wound up with something edible. Kajiwara peered into the refrigerator.
Goodness, you are remarkably understocked,
He said.
Let's see. Could you please put these in the dinger, Mr. Osawa?
Dinger. Named for the sound a microwave oven makes when it has finished heating your food. The microwave at my house doesn't really go ding when the timer reaches 0 though. It's more just a beep. But it doesn't make sense to call a microwave a beeper when that's already a word that refers to something else. Does your microwave ding or beep?
It beeps. It's not a toaster. The toaster dings.
The detective handed Osawa some frozen lumps of rice.
The dinger? What the heck is a dinger?
The microwave oven, sir.
Osawa stepped in front of the microwave. Unfortunately, he had no idea how to work the controls.
You should thaw that rice out as soon as possible,
Kajiwara told him.
I'm actually not sure how to operate this thing.
What?
The detective gasped.
You don't know how to use a microwave?
Osawa could only nod in silent shame.
It should be just as simple as turning the dial.
Wait, which one?
That one, sir. The one on the right.
Osawa turned the dial, then crossed his arms with a satisfied grin.
Mr. Osawa, you need to put the rice in first before you do that.
Well, then why didn't you say that?
Osawa snapped. There's only
I've
like
never
one
worked in
dial. Sorry.
Yeah, it's cool.
I've never worked in a kitchen in my life. Don't ask me to do things that are this difficult.
There's only just the one dial.
Yeah. Oh, maybe there's one on the left that we can't see.
Very well. I'll handle this from here. Why don't you get out the bowls and the chopsticks then, sir?
I don't know how to do that either. I mean, I have no idea where the hell those things are kept.
Oh no, the Osawa's getting to you. Kajiwara
Yeah,
let
it's
out
pretty rough out here.
a heavy sigh.
Alright then.
Then please just sit and wait, sir, he said. I think I forgot to sigh.
And here, take this.
Kajiwara pulled out a sheet of bubble wrap from his pocket.
Use your fingers to pop the bubbles. That should help you calm down.
Too drained to argue, Osawa did as prompted, starting to pop his way along the sheet. Rather than calm him down, though, it was making him incredibly cross. This felt more like a sort of ridiculous punishment.
They say you can learn a lot about a household by looking in the fridge, you know.
Kajiwara was cooking something in a frying pan.
And
Osawa asked.
just what have you learned about mine?
I'd better not say, sir. You might take offense.
Osawa snapped another bubble between his fingers.
Ah, the rice is finished thawing.
Kajiwara topped the steaming bowl of rice with a fried egg he'd whipped up in his pan. Then, as if it were an afterthought, he added some pickled vegetables.
Here you are, sir. Your fried egg on rice is complete.
One of Kajiwara's simple recipes. Others include his white spaghetti, which is simply spaghetti that's been flavored with butter, salt, and pepper after it's been boiled. Both are a bit too basic to be properly called cuisine, but it does take a certain skill to bring the best flavor out of the ingredients with such simple seasonings. Kajiwara grinned from ear to ear.
Go ahead and eat it while it's still warm.
Osawa received the bowl with a dubious look.
You aren't very good at cooking, are you?
He said.
All you had in your refrigerator were eggs and pickled vegetables, sir. I assure you it's quite delicious. I recommend breaking the yolk and mixing it all together.
Reluctantly, Osawa brought a bite to his mouth.
That's good.
Kajiwara just staring at him.
Yeah.
The words came out almost unbidden.
Isn't it just? Egg yolk and pickled vegetables pair quite well.
Osawa couldn't help but stuff his face, slipping into a rapturous daze as he did. The more he ate, the more it stirred his appetite.
Had no idea fried eggs could be this delicious.
I know you probably have a long ordeal still ahead of you, sir, but please keep your chin up and hang in there.
Kajiwara gave Osawa an amiable smile.
That,
Is that Kajiwara?
probably.
That's right.
He continued. And for dessert, we have bananas.
No, thank you.
Kajiwara grimaced as Osawa held up a hand in refusal.
Right then. When you're finished eating, would you please wash the bowl?
Me? Wash dishes?
Osawa exclaimed in surprise, sounding like a petulant child.
If someone else cooks for you, you should do the cleaning up. It's only polite.
Fine, okay.
While Osawa was doing the dishes, the bug detector went off again. Wait, let me check to see who this... Yeah, this is you. It's do a butlery voice.
Director, do you have a moment?
Tanaka poked his head into the kitchen.
I've got something urgent to discuss with you.
It's a keep out. Alright. Do you want to keep going? We're about at an hour in.
Let's stop there. That was a little tough on my voice.
Okay. So, let's see. For next time, we can follow Minorikawa and Achi. We have to figure out how to save Kano.
Right.
I wonder if we have a jump to Osawa. You probably don't. Yeah. So, what do you think?
I think Kajiwara really shined in this episode. I think we saw a side of him we haven't seen before.
Is
With
it
the egg.
the naked apron side?
Yeah, and that too.
Should I ask what you think will happen next, or?
Sure.
So, what do you think's gonna happen next?
I don't know.
Great.
I got you.
Well, we were in the kitchen in this episode. So, what do you have any like kitchen tips for us this episode? Anything about eggs? How do you prefer your eggs?
I fry my eggs in oil, medium heat. Usually like over easy, but I'll just flip them for a second. You know, I used to eat them sunny side up, but I found that when you cook eggs sunny side up at home, that it's hard to get the egg white to cook on top. Because you want the yolk to be raw, but you don't want the egg white to be raw.
That's
it's
true.
just kind of gross. So, you could do it you could do it on super low heat, but then it'd take like 20 minutes to cook your egg. So, yeah, I just fry them with a quick over easy, just like 1 minute on one side, and then like 10 seconds on the other side, just to cook the white that had previously been not exposed to the pan. But I'm not a master chef like Kajiwara, so a very high proportion of my eggs end up breaking when I like try and get them out of the pan or try and flip them or whatever.
Yeah. I can see that. Well,
Or
I
you
guess
could just make them in the microwave.
that is true. I learned there's this cookbook that we got that's like it's about convenience, and you can like quickly fry an egg in the microwave. You just like put it in a bowl with a little bit of water so it doesn't stick, and then you like poke the yolk with a chopstick, and then you put saran wrap on top and you stick it in there for like a minute and a half, and then
Does it come out good?
not a minute and a half, 40 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it comes out pretty good. It's mostly for like instant ramen.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Then you just like
Because I have
drop it into
just cracked an
ramen.
egg into my ramen and put it back in the microwave.
Yeah. Well, now you know another way.
Oh yeah.
Some of the white might still be a little raw, but if you put it in the ramen, it'll cook up. It should cook. So yeah, that's my cooking tip. Eventually, these episodes are going to be half game and half just like food talk.
Yeah. Aljo's kitchen tips.
All right, so I guess that's it. Hopefully, we'll do another one next week, but things get busy, so it's yeah. I think I'm gonna see if I can, for whenever we have like a hiatus week, I'll see if I can throw in some other random video. I don't know. It depends on how lazy I am, I suppose. Do you have any sign off
Yeah.
sayings, Yoshi?
I don't think I have any wisdom for the folks at home today. I'll try and come up with something good for next week.
All right. My sign off is the naked apron. The best view is from the
Side. Gotta be side, because you get the best of both worlds, you know?
That's true. I was gonna say front, but
Oh.
side to side is good too. Yeah, you're probably right. The side is probably the best.
Especially if there's something pushing the apron out a little bit, you know? So you can see a little better, like underneath.
Yeah, like if they hold their breath and like make their belly big.
Yeah. Big and stiff.
That's the episode. We will see you guys next time. Bye.
All right, see you, folks.